Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well, surviving this crazy winter. Today I'd like to talk about great plant combinations and how combining the right plants together can really amp up your garden and create a beautiful cohesive space. So come garden with me and let's talk about plants that go well together. So obviously first I want to say it's your garden, you do what you want. I've always done what I've wanted in my garden. Unfortunately, though, sometimes that does create a little bit of chaos where you just kind of buy a plant here and there and just plop it in. The further I make the transition to a career in horticulture, the more I learn about what makes a great garden design. So my hope is that you'll be able to learn some great tips from this video today.
In my opinion, one of the best plant combinations to demonstrate contrasting textures is the Hasta and the Hakan combination, which I'm showing right here. You can see how the thin grass-like leaves of the Hakan play beautifully off the larger wavy leaves of the Hasta. This is a classic combination that's used in shadier gardens everywhere, so let's take a look at a few more combinations of this kind. In this garden, they've combined a couple of different kinds of hostas, another one with a wavy margin and some blue-green leaves, and this one up here is just a chartreuse-colored hosta. But you can also see that they've added in some ferns for different texture as well. This one is a more upright growing fern. This one you can see a little bit of here. To me looks almost like a maidenhair fern. They've also got some foxgloves, and this to me looks like maybe an obedient plant. Not 100% sure, but you can see how you don't just have to use two different kinds of plants here. You can use 3 or 4 different kinds of plants to create that difference in texture. In this combination here, you can see that they have a different type of hosta with different colored, different margins. This one's a little bit less blue-green and more gold-green or gold-blue. They have an astilbe thrown in here. They're still using what looks like the Hakanakloa macra. Let's take a look at another one.
So seeing in some of these pictures, you can add additional elements just such as hydrangeas. You just don't have to have the Hakanakloa and the hosta. Just make sure that when you're choosing a hydrangea, you choose the right one for a shadier location. For example, here we have a serrata hydrangea, which looks absolutely gorgeous with the Hakanakloa grass. I love this combination. But you can also do a macrophylla hydrangea that maybe you add some soil acidifier to get it to turn blue. If normally a hydrangea in your yard would be pink, I just think the blue and the gold just really offset each other so well. But you can also add like incredible hydrangeas or Annabelle hydrangeas because they can take a little bit of shade and they really, really look pretty with the Hakanakloa and the hostas as well. So let's take a look at one of those. So here is an example combination of the Hakanakloa with the I believe this probably is an Annabelle just because it's drooping a little bit, but that creates just such a charming combination. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I might even have to try this somewhere in my yard.
So in this picture, we have what I think is the epitome of a beautiful garden using differing textures. We still have the hosta and the Hakanakloa, but we also have the hydrangea arborescens, and it is a really peaceful, harmonious look, which creates in you the feeling of drawing you in. You can just imagine putting a bench in front of this garden, going in here with a good book and a glass of wine and just whiling away the day, which is exactly the feeling that we want from our garden. In this garden, we've also used hostas and hydrangeas, but we've switched the hydrangea from an hydrangea arborescens with its big mop head flowers to an oak leaf hydrangea. And we also have some astilbes in here. So again, this creates a really harmonious, beautiful look that draws you in. And the plants all have differing textures. I think we have another picture of this garden from the opposite direction. Let me see if I can bring that up. So here we're looking in the opposite direction, and you can see just how pretty that looks, especially with this big tree in the foreground here. Again, this is just that kind of garden that just draws you in. So since we've talked about Annabelle hydrangeas, let's continue on with them and what kind of plants you can combine them with besides hostas so that you can use Annabelle hydrangeas in your garden. So this is a bit of a shady location and you can see, yes, it's definitely combined with hosta, but there are a lot of other plants in this combination. So you can see some boxwoods, astilbes. It looks like there's a mugo pine, there's a Japanese maple. So what makes this location though pop really are these beautiful white mop head flowers of the Annabelle hydrangea. This is a shady garden. To me, it's a little bit more formal. So again, you can use that Annabelle hydrangea in lots of different settings. I think it looks great combined with boxwoods. Beautiful formal garden. Now let's look at Annabelle hydrangea combined with a different plant to create a less formal garden, if that's what you're looking for. So let's take a look at some more combinations using the Annabelle hydrangea. This is a sunny location and it's a little bit less formal. I feel like sometimes sunnier locations are a little bit less formal than shade gardens, but here you can see the Annabelle hydrangea is combined with Rudbeckia. So if you have a sunnier location, you definitely can use the Annabelle hydrangea or the hydrangea arborescens. They might want a little bit of afternoon shade depending on what zone you're in. So let's take a look at one more combination using Annabelle hydrangea for a more sunny location and a slightly less formal application. So here we have the Annabelle with the butterfly bush. This is a Pugster periwinkle butterfly bush. So it's going to stay smaller so that at the front of the border plays very well off the Annabelle at the back of the border. The flower textures are really different between these two plants. So this creates a really beautiful combination for a sunnier location, and even the leaves are a little bit different. The leaves of the butterfly bush are slightly elongated, where the leaves of the Annabelle hydrangea are more rounded. So again, another great plant combination to use in your garden. Another plant that lends itself really well to being combined with other plants in your garden is miscanthus grass. Any grass really, but we're going to focus right now on miscanthus grass. And you can see here in this picture how just using it with limelight hydrangeas creates a really big impact in the garden. Again, differing textures that just really create a beautiful space that draws you in. And again, miscanthus really lends itself to both formal gardens, as we saw when it was combined with just the limelight hydrangeas, but also less formal gardens, as we see it here combined with several other different plants. We have coreopsis, two different kinds of coreopsis. This looks like a hooker. We have a lavender. This actually looks like Swiss chard. We have some more perennials in the back here. And obviously the two tallest plants here are that miscanthus morning light. So you can see that using this grass, whether you're combining it with just one plant or with many, can not only create a beautiful space, but it can be used in different kinds of applications to create a different look. Another beautiful grass that you can use to combine with perennials in different settings is the Nicella. Used to be called Stipa grass, which you see right here, planted in mass in this garden with some boxwoods, other grasses, and what looks like salvia. It's formal because everything is planted in mass, but it really lends itself to both formal and informal settings, as you'll see in some of the other pictures here. So this to me looks like a lot less formal of a setting. Looks like we have some creeping thyme. This is the stipa grass here, and you can just see how delicate that is. And again, you have differing textures. Stipa grass, or now as it's known as Nacella, just really lends itself very well to being combined with so many perennials. You can see here, I'm on Pinterest and I just typed in Stipa, and you can just see how many different applications there are. Obviously, I've only touched the surface. I mean, I could go on for hours on what you could combine Stipa with. I mean, beautiful. It really is a grass that lends itself both to formal and informal plantings. Now, I will say, and I haven't talked about zones and hardiness and all that other stuff with any of the other plants on this video. That's not what I was focusing on. Stipa is not reliably hardy. I'm in zone 7A, and I'm told I should be treating it as an annual. And I'm only bringing this up for you gardeners out there who might want to try this in your landscape. I just want you to be aware that anything colder than zone 7 is probably not going to be hardy for you. So say if you're in zone 4 or 5 and you want to try a beautiful garden with Stipa, combining with alliums or sneezeweeds or yarrows, I mean, it's just so gorgeous. I can go on and on. It's probably going to be an annual for you. So before you go out and spend a lot of money on these plants, even though I'm not focusing on that in this video. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now, for me, it's really not even it's hardy in zone 7, but I think because our winters have been getting a little bit warmer, I have had it come back for me reliably. Now we have just had a hard freeze for the last few weeks, so it'd be interesting to see if the steepa I have growing out in my yard does come back this spring. But again, I just wanted to mention that because I don't want anybody going out and spending lots and lots of money on a plant that doesn't come back for them. But again, I'm just scrolling through Pinterest here. Steepa just combines so well with so many other plants. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. I hope that my little talk about combining plants with differing textures and how that can create a really gorgeous, harmonious, unified garden has helped you in maybe some of your 2024 plans. I hope I've showed you some plants that combine well together that maybe you're thinking about using in your yard. At any rate, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.